As men, we have to reach and teach them and be more responsible for ourselves, family, and children. Yes, that's a comment by Dr. Vert. But what can we do? We keep saying these things happen. If I had the answer, I would give it to you right now. Other than some of the things that we try to do, what is the solution to stop it? This has to stop now, not tomorrow, not 2 weeks. It has to stop now. We are losing into the look into the future. And if you can almost look at a youth and say, I can see where he or she is going to go in another 3 or 4 years if this don't stop. We are literally seeing it in front of our face. What is the solution? You don't have to have no master's degree, doctorate degree to identify our problems. What is the solution to stop it? And Dr. Vert, I know you just gave that. But what can we do? We are seeing the destruction of our children right in front of our face. Some of our own family members. Like I said, I go into families' homes. We see this ignorance on Facebook. People posting fights. People posting, grown people posting fights. And then if I'm given, not that I got all the answers, a message like this, I gotta struggle to get 15, 20 people to tune in. But if a damn fight is on, the destruction of our people, is the white man making us do that? What's the solution? We're relying on technology to babysit our children and the attention they need. Yes. Yes. They laid the groundwork years ago. Walaikum salam, Brother Angelo. They laid the groundwork. Now we are like on remote control, meaning our destructive behaviors. All they can do is, all I got to do is sit back and say, see, we're not doing this. The topic, Brother Angelo, is we had a 100-man reading program here in Pennsylvania, where men from the community were supposed to go into city schools that is 98% populated by black people. And at the registration this morning, the majority of the men there to go read to our children was white men. It was very few brothers there. Now I saw some young brothers come there from Youth Build, but I'm talking about in our age, it was a majority white men. And in the school that I went to, 8 of the people that went to that particular school, out of the 8 people there, only 2 was black and 1 of them was me. That's the topic. And I'm talking about how disturbed I am by seeing other people having more interest to go see our people. And Dr. Vert did point out the barriers to get into the schools, but I'm just saying today I wasn't asked for any clearances to get into the schools. So I'm wondering where the brothers were. And moving into the future, we got to go into these schools to get our children. Sister Karen said these children have no role models and mentors to look up to. A lot of our parents are busy being their children's friend instead of their parents, and teaching them respect of others. Yes. TVs, movies, video games, YouTube, World Star. Yes. What is the immediate solution? Miss Mary Calhoun says we must get back on track. It takes a village. Yes, it does. No one person can do this. I'm just for a loss of words, and again, I'm just getting back in the groove of things here. And my good brother Dr. Vert asked me earlier, what are you doing socially? Right now I'm offering counseling services for free for families that need it. I went to some churches. I'm not going to name the churches that I've reached out to. They haven't got back to me. It's only one mosque here in this area. I've offered it. They said they got me on the Rolodex, because I believe a lot of the problems we have, even with our adults and people our age, it comes from dysfunctional families and homes. Please go on my YouTube channel and look up. I did a talk called the ACE Study and Survey. The ACE Study and Survey. ACE stands for adverse childhood experiences. Adverse childhood experiences. It's a study that came out years ago in the mental health field where they backed off from it because they didn't want to ask these pressing questions. Now it's coming back around. With this adverse childhood experiences, it says if children, especially in our neighborhoods, are exposed to sexual abuse, physical abuse, neglect, and parents who are incarcerated and grandparents have to raise them, they are more prone to chronic disease. And if these risk factors aren't addressed by the time they are 18, it will take 20 years off their life. I'm going to say it one more time so we are loud and clear. It is called the ACE Study and Survey. I have to study these things with me being a mobile therapist, and my background is in substance abuse counseling. ACE stands for Adverse Childhood Experiences. They said children are being exposed to sexual abuse, physical neglect, substance abuse, and parents being incarcerated. This makes them more prone to chronic disease like diabetes, hypertension, heart problems, on and on and on. And if they don't get these issues addressed by the time they're 18, it will take 20 years off their life. I thought it was a bunch of hogwash when I first saw it, but once I studied it, I said, this is true. I've lost at least 2 siblings just this year, and within the last 2 years, 3 siblings and uncles. All of them, if I was to poll them, have been victims of what I just said. The sexual abuse, substance abuse, physical neglect and abuse. These are taboo issues that a lot of black people don't want to address. A couple weeks ago, I did a talk on the horrors of sexual abuse in the black community. A little off topic, but on topic. No one wants to talk about it. And instead of us wrapping our arms around the victims, we are wrapping our arms around and protecting the perpetrators of the crime. Some of us. But it's probably more than some of us, because many of our sisters have been sexually abused. How do I know? Again, I'm a mobile therapist. This is what I do. Brother Angelo said black male will not do something if they don't see others doing it. Men in the home or neighborhood should be reading to their children, showing them that it's cool and popular. Yes, sir, brother. That's what the program was about today. But again, look up that ACE study and survey. A lot of these children are living in highly dysfunctional homes, and then they're bringing that stuff to school. How can you function if you're going to bed 2-3 in the morning and playing video games to 2-3 in the morning? All that lights and stimulation, and then you go in there and got to listen to some a teacher who don't look like you tell you lies that Christopher Columbus discovered America. Some of them don't like you. I know these things. But how can you advocate for a child when the bell rings at 8:30 and by 8:35 he's already in goddamn trouble? How can you advocate for that? I've told my students that over and over again. You are making it very difficult for me to advocate for you with you behaving this way. How can you advocate for these children when they're behaving this way? This is Brother Sharif with the Hour of Power. I think I've said enough. I thank each and every one of you for your input. Dr. Vert, Sister Karen, Brother Angelo, and others who have tuned in. Please share this video once I end it and forward it if you find it beneficial. And for those, if we can collaborate somehow to save our children. I do not want my children growing up and even be around another generation like this. That's why, and I'm being humble when I say this, I'm trying to be humble. That's why I try to invest in so many other children. It's not mine, because it's really a self-investment. Because if I can create a safe haven with our youth, I'm really investing in myself for my boys. I don't want my boys being raised around people who they can't trust, who's going to try to rob and kill them, or even say something that's destructive to them. So what's the best way to counter that? Invest in other boys and other girls who are not yours, as long as you got a straight mind. It's an investment to invest in other children. And like Sister Mary said, for our village, for our community. So I've even had my own family members. You should be worried about your own boys. Not that my boys are out of control. They ain't perfect, but my boys are pretty well behaved. I've had people close to me. You should worry about your own boys. Why are you doing? I am worried about my own boys. That's why I'm investing in other boys, to create a safe haven for my boys, because I know I can't follow them around. I may leave this earth when I hang up this phone. I can't be there for them all the time. I got more years behind me than in front of me. Most likely. What's a black man living these days without the police knocking you off and the bad food? What, 70 years, 65 years? I hope we can start living longer than this. We should be living till we 120, 130 easy. Do you know it's a man by the name of Lin Chin Zhu? I want you to look him up and then I'll be done. A man by the name of Lin Chin Zhu in China. Do you know he lived to be 256 years old, and they did a story on him in the New York Times in 1933. 256 years old, and he joined the army in China at the age of 75. They said, why'd you join so late? He said, because I'm just getting started. Lin Chin Zhu, look him up. That's all you got to do is Google his name, and it will tell you this man lived to be 256 in China. And the New York Times did an article on him in 1933. They said, what's the secret? He said, I don't worry, I get a lot of sleep, and he had a vegetarian diet. So we should be living a long life. But the odds are stacked against us. But doing these destructive things, showing our children fighting videos, feeding our children garbage because we don't want to cook, and all the other destructive things that we do, we are taking years off of our life, encouraging your children to disrespect their elders. This ain't no theology class, but damn it, don't the book say honor your mother and father so your days will be long upon the land? And you encouraging your children to disrespect adults, and then when another adult comes to you and tells you your child was disrespectful in the community or in school, you want to come up to the school with your damn pajamas on and be confrontational with the adult. And now most of our elders are half scared to even say something to the youth. They see them doing things in the community that ain't right, but they like, I'm not getting involved. Because they scared the damn youth may pull out a gun or something and may attack them. When I was coming up, Miss Jones or Mr. Jones down the street could snatch my little black behind up, and that was going to be the end of it. And my parents weren't going to question them. They was going to question me. What in the hell is wrong with you, boy? Didn't Mr. Smallwood say, stop riding that big wheel up and down the block and stop making so much noise? Yeah, what happened to those days? So lastly, you're creating a community that will protect them. Most parents don't know anything about the friends and their children around them. Yes, I don't know half of my neighbors. Thank you all for tuning in. Please share this video, and someone please inbox me, especially people in this area. Collaborate in your area, and let's start going into these schools. They're public schools, and help our brothers and wrap our arms around our brothers, like Dr. Vert said, that face barriers of going into the school because of a ding or something on their record. That don't mean we can't use them. We may just have to use them in a different way. But we gotta stop this madness of our children going in these schools, getting in trouble, can't read. We can already look 50 years in advance and see what it's gonna be, and it's not pretty. I've worked in the criminal justice system. They are building jails and detention centers. Hell, do you know they got alternative schools for third graders now? Before, alternative schools were just for 6th grade on up. Now they have alternative schools for 3rd